The internet is full of differing opinions, from people telling each other they slept with each other's moms,
your mother,
to people arguing who the strongest character in their favorite anime is.
no enemy.
However, some topics seem to resonate with entire communities, and they build a gigantic following, and then inevitably that community will turn and change, and then there will be people still left in the past believing one thing when in reality, the opposite of what they once believed is now true, or cool, or trendy.
Gypsy Rose supporters and the people watching Life After Lockup, watching this, has it finally opened your eyes that she is a scammer?
This seems to be the case of the girl who helped murder her abusive mother. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, somebody you've probably heard of if you've been on the internet for a little while. And I say seems to be the case of this because there's some Shakespearean level drama going on in this situation, and it's kind of, frankly, I don't give a singular but it's pretty interesting.
I never treat you like an idiot. I never have. You know, I get mad when people treat you like that.
I know, and you were starting to act like them.
Gypsy Rose was released from prison late last year, almost an entire year ago. And overnight, she became an internet sensation with posts like this, and videos like this, and articles and headlines in People magazine coming around to support her because she's a new hero.
You were released from prison just a week ago.
Yes, that is correct.
I mean, that's just, like yesterday.
Right.
You served 8 years of a 10-year sentence. Number one, how are you doing? Number two, you say that prison changed you. How did that happen? Tell us about it.
Well, I'm doing great. I'm in New York City for the first time.
Then it seemed like just a few short months later, time sort of ran out for Gypsy Rose, and the internet has kind of changed their mind and withdrawn some of their support for good reason. I'm not really sure though, to be honest. I don't actually know. I really don't know any of this stuff. I'm learning this with you guys. How do I put on Do Not Disturb? How the f does that work? How the f does that work? Why does my laptop go ping? If you don't know who Gypsy Rose is, I'll give you a basic rundown. You've probably heard of this story at some point. It's very popular. There's movies built around it or built around this syndrome, this entire situation. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born in 1991 to her mother, Claudine Blanchard, in Golden Meadow, Louisiana. The heart of America, guys. It doesn't smell like sewage in Louisiana. From the very beginning of Gypsy's life, her mother Claudine would claim that her newborn child had an array of illnesses. You could probably see where this is going already. Some of the diseases and illnesses include leukemia. Her mother would keep her head shaved to show that she was getting chemo treatments. Muscular dystrophy is another disease that Claudine claimed Gypsy had. Even though Gypsy tested negative, her mother claimed the doctors misinterpreted the test and forced Gypsy to stay in a wheelchair, despite the fact that she could still run and play like a normal child.
This is a tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception. We also know that she can walk without assistance or a wheelchair, and she can do that very well.
It is assumed that this is probably the biggest drain mentally for Gypsy and probably the most difficult of all these different things to deal with because Gypsy knew that she could walk, but she was forced to sit all day by her mother. Claudine also claimed that Gypsy had epilepsy and brain damage, and this caused her to have seizures. She would feed Gypsy anti-seizure medication that rotted her teeth and just f***ed her up and had a bunch of side effects because she didn't have an epileptic disorder. Maybe she had brain damage, but she did not have an epileptic disorder at all. Her mother, Claudine, to further prove that Gypsy had brain damage to viewers and spectators around the world, she would inject a numbing agent into her daughter's gums to make her drool. Because that's, if everybody knows that people with brain damage drool. Claudine Blanchard also claimed that Gypsy had a plethora of respiratory illnesses, including severe asthma and sleep apnea, so welcome to the club. Some other things that Gypsy had to suffer through included having a feeding tube installed, having eye surgery for a lazy eye that didn't need surgery, and super thick glasses. The glasses, a total look. Bottle caps. Love it. For 23 years, Gypsy had to put up with her mother's horrible, evil treatment, and then finally one day she snapped As she got older, Gypsy began to trust her mother and mother less and less, obviously, because she starts to realize that I don't have actually any of these problems. My mom is insane and wants attention and is using me as a medium. It garnered a lot of attention, by the way. This was like a really popular thing. In 2011, Gypsy had gotten into a science fiction convention and met a man, and she ran away with that young man. Later on, though, Claudine would find her daughter and took her back home after convincing the man that Gypsy was still a minor, even though Gypsy was 19 years old, which is not a minor. When Gypsy got back home, her mother tied her to her bed and smashed her computer to make sure that she couldn't connect with the outside world or anyone else, and also refused to feed her as further punishment for her crimes against Claudine. After that whole ordeal, Gypsy continued to lose faith in her mother, and in 2015, she got back online and met Nicholas Godjon, a man from Wisconsin, who she met on a Christian dating website.
Due to all the publicity Gypsy's getting, and she's getting me that publicity too, I feel like I have a responsibility. I feel like I have to be somewhat of a role model.
The two would chat for a while, and over time, Gypsy would tell Nicholas about the horrors that she had to endure under her mother's care. So at this time, she's completely cognizant of what's going on. She's already tried to run away once, and now she's meeting people from the outside world and exposing Claudine for the evil demon that she actually is. Eventually, Gypsy would ask Nicholas, her new love, to murder her mother for her, which is quite a step, but, you know, it happens. Seems like it happens nowadays.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
By this point, Gypsy and her mother were living in Missouri, and they had been for quite some time as they had fled Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina had decimated the state back in '05. On my birthday, August 29th, 2005. Great birthday for me, bud. In 2015, in Missouri, Nicholas traveled to the Blanchard home and murdered Claudine by stabbing her to death.
The probable cause statement shows Gypsy admitted to giving the knife to her boyfriend, 26-year-old Nicholas Godjon. Godjon stated he would not have killed anyone unless Gypsy had asked him to, and this is why he killed Claudinia.
During the murder, Gypsy sat in the bathroom and covered her ears so she wouldn't hear her mother's screams. There are also details in regard to the murder about what happened directly before and after that are insane and totally messed up. If you guys want to go do more research on that, you're more than welcome to, or watch another video, but probably can't even talk about it on YouTube, to be honest. It's weird, though. These people fantasize some really weird stuff. That is Nicholas and Gypsy. I don't know who these people are, but they're pretty wild, to be honest. Following the murder of Claudine, Gypsy and Nicholas went to Wisconsin together, where Gypsy would, for the first time in her life, be free to do whatever she wanted, and this had major consequences. They were on the run, like Bonnie and Clyde. They had just murdered. I mean, regardless of whether or not she deserved it, I don't know. I'm not one to say, but they were on the run for murder. It was only a matter of time before the body would be discovered, and the couple needed a way to direct suspicion away from them. It's very difficult. Gypsy's not there. Everybody knows that Gypsy is like a sick, totally reliant babe under her mother's care, so they're like, oh shit, did she get kidnapped? This is terrible. This has got to be bad. It has to do with Gypsy. Everyone look for Gypsy right now. To direct suspicion away from themselves, it seemed like Gypsy decided to access her mother's Facebook account and make a few posts posing as her mother. These were supposedly aimed at making people think someone had broken into the Blanchard residence, killed Claudine, and then kidnapped Gypsy. So that was their sort of explanation as to why Gypsy wasn't there and Claudine was dead. So genius! Now, if you can imagine, that didn't work at all, and in 2016, Gypsy was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree murder of her mother.
24-year-old Gypsy Blanchard stood in the courtroom looking scared and nervous as she admitted to planning and killing her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard.
How do you plead to the Class A felony of murder in the second degree?
Guilty to second-degree murder.
Her accomplice, Nicholas Godjon, was convicted of first-degree murder in 2018 and sentenced to life in prison without parole. And in a Shakespearean twist of fate, Nicholas claimed he murdered Claudine in order to free Gypsy, but look at what that got him. You can't actually murder people to free them. This is not the medieval times. There's a process of justice, etc., which I tend to have respect in. Nicholas performed the ultimate act of love for his newfound love, Gypsy, and killed her mother only to end up rotting in a jail cell for probably the rest of his life.
When this whole thing happened, all I ever really wanted to be is with Blanchard. That's all I ever wanted to be. I've never known what it was like to have a motherly love. I've never known what it's like to have a female connection. I've never known any of that. None of it.
Quite Shakespearean. It's not at all. It's actually, maybe it is a little bit in a weird way. I think it is. Interesting. During her sentence, Gypsy would do multiple interviews and even a documentary, and all of this would occur between 2017 and 2018. She was interviewed by Dr. Phil and ABC News Nightline, my favorite show on cable. Gypsy got really popular at this time, extremely popular amongst daytime TV watchers, all right? You know, that age group. During her sentencing, Gypsy would do multiple interviews. She would do a documentary. She would get interviewed by Dr. Phil. She went on ABC News Nightline, my favorite cable television show of all time.
How did you go from this to this?
I almost see it as a fall from grace. I thought back then that I was a good person, and now I just see it as it was a fraud, and I made a horrible mistake.
During these interviews, she would talk about her life, the murders, how much she was abused by her mom, etc. She would talk about how horrible her mother was to her.
But did you feel any different the day before you got the walker than the day you did have the walker?
No, sir.
You were able to run around?
Pretty much, yes.
And would you forget to get it and run into the kitchen?
There would be times that I'd forget to grab it and then go to walk, and then my mom would catch me and be like, use your walker.
She grew a quite large sympathetic crowd that was on her side, that was kind of rooting for her. The media attention showed the world a side of Gypsy that had not yet been seen, the side of someone whose entire life essentially was a lie perpetrated by one person that was then brutally murdered in a Shakespearean twist. It's not. It's really bad. I shouldn't be saying that stuff, but you know, it is interesting. It is dramatic, for sure. Is it a tragedy or is it a comedy? Comment down below. Due to all these new eyes, it also meant that anytime there was a development surrounding the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, the world would know about it. In 2019, she announced that she had a fiance named Ken, whom she had met through a pen pal program, which is, I mean, that's fucking awesome. It's awesome. Is a good word for it, really. Extremely reputable magazines and news outlets followed the story and built more hype around Miss Blanchard. And in 2022, she announced that she had married a man named Ryan Anderson, who was from Louisiana. But what about Ken? Oh, fuck. Ken got the short end of the stick. Ken's funny looking. He's got a bunch of different sauces and salad dressings in there at the grocery store. Ken's a good guy, I feel like. So at this point, the stage was set. Once she was released, she was going to be a star, and she knew it. Gypsy Rose was then released on parole in December of 2023, finally free to live her life and begin a new journey. She served 7 years of her 10-year sentence and got out on parole, so pretty classic epic style there. Now, off the bat, her being released, people are sort of celebrating her being an accomplice and second-degree murderer to the murder of her mom. And her and this guy, Nicholas, did this. People are really excited about this, which is interesting, right? We do have a justice system and whatever. People love a good vengeance story. People love revenge. They love vindication. They love people getting what they deserve. And at this point in our story, it looks like that is exactly what's happening. This person who was tortured, murdered, got revenge, essentially. But there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot more conspiracies, and there's a lot more information, and people's sort of general public opinion has drastically changed since Gypsy was first released. Very important note, all right? Very, very, very important note. For example, there is an entire cohort of people that believe strongly that Gypsy manipulated a disabled man, Nicholas, into murdering her mom for her.
Many are saying that she is a master manipulator who only is concerned with fame, and that's why she only follows a handful of social media accounts, and they're all media outlets like TMZ and things like that. A lot of people also don't love the fact that her ex-boyfriend, who is the one who committed the murder against her mother, is still in jail while she's out free and getting this like huge national press tour.
The internet obsession with Gypsy Rose Blanchard really bloomed at this point, really blossomed. As soon as she was released, all of her social media accounts blew up. She was everywhere on TikTok, Reels, big on Reels, dude. Real big on Reels. Her Instagrams reached 7.8 million followers, which is way more than I've got. I mean, how irrelevant am I? What the f? Her Twitter account saw similar success. Her TikTok is her most popular account by far, currently at 10 million followers. And alongside those accounts, Gypsy released lots of new media and did numerous interviews to appease her fan base. She appeared on Good Morning America, my second favorite cable television show.
I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I have made mistakes in the past, and I will probably make minor mistakes going forward. But at the same time, I do know right from wrong, and learning from past mistakes is a growth that comes with time.
She appeared on The View. I fucking hate The View.
I always say that if I didn't go to prison, I don't think that I would have acclimated to the outside world as easily as I have now.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
so your life was less the world than prison.
You said you were more free in prison.
Yeah,
the freest you'd ever felt was the first.
And a British morning show called This Morning. Third favorite show.
What has life been like since your release in December?
Life has been a whirlwind. For the last 5 months, I've gone through a lot of changes in my everyday life, in my love life, home life. So the last 5 months have been quite an adjustment.
Just like before, she talked about the suffering under her mother, her time in prison, etc. All the stuff people are interested in, right? Like she's got this crazy, unique story that people are like, oh yeah, this is wild. She served time in prison, so that she had to answer for her murder of her mom, but it's okay now. Let's give her a bunch of fame because she's pretty chill and stuff, etc., etc. She also commented in these newer interviews on how she did feel some remorse and regrets surrounding the death of her mother, which is probably a healthy thing, I would assume.
Have you got any regrets?
Oh yeah, I have lots of regrets, lots of things that I would change. Obviously the big one, that goes without saying, but that's on my conscience. You know, I have to live with that on a daily basis. Yes, I did my time. I did 8.5 years, but that was a prison sentence. The emotional and mental regret that I have to live with goes for the rest of my life.
People really sympathize with Gypsy. She had been through so much and could finally enjoy her life, and with a large following like hers, she could enjoy the finer things in life. Quite literally, a week after her release from prison, she was invited to the red carpet, and the reason she was invited was that her new Lifetime documentary, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
After a lifetime of silence, I finally get to use my voice to share my story and speak my truth. As a survivor of relentless child abuse, this docuseries chronicles my quest to expose the hidden parts of my life that have never been revealed until now.
It was a 6-hour special that was released, and it boasted new and unknown, never before heard or seen information that was going to show on television in regard to Gypsy Rose and the murder of her mom and all that stuff. So yeah, it's juicy, man. Very juicy stuff. Very juicy. This wouldn't be the only time that Gypsy Rose would show up at a red carpet event. The second time was for another Lifetime program, Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, which, I'm gonna be real, got a lot worse and a lot more cringe.
I don't want to go through my whole life being the girl that murdered her mother. You know my story. All right, now let's see what I do with my life.
Based on the name, you probably can guess the premise. The show would only add more fame to Gypsy Rose, as we could see a glimpse into her life, which produced a lot of viral clips online, to be honest. And it comes off as a TLC show.
Can you remarry me?
Huh?
Can you remarry me?
Can we not do this on camera?
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a no, right?
No, it's not a no. It's just kind of one of those things that you could ask those questions when we're not filming.
It comes off as a TLC show without fat people. So it's like, what's the point of this? Fucking people making racket over here. The first episode starts off with cameras filming Gypsy's first day out of prison. We get to see how Gypsy learns to operate a smartphone, which is hilarious.
Power button is that big one.
Okay. All right. Oh, wow.
Oh,
This is
exciting.
so cool.
Okay, well, you'll get to play with it more tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't get too attached.
It may take a few minutes to activate your phone.
So they're just gonna let it run.
Okay. That's here.
She tries on dress shoes for the first time.
All right, so since the boots don't fit, I'm wondering about your shoes.
You know, what would be funny is if my whole belief system of like what sizes I've been all these years were wrong.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And everything that we have ever bought won't fit.
All right, so.
Okay, shoes do not fit.
They don't fit? Baby.
Nothing.
Baby.
Oh, I'm devastated. Nothing fits.
They don't fit at all?
I'm probably a 6.
We also, by the way, get to see Ryan, her love interest, and what their relationship is like, because that's got to be interesting. Ryan is an absolute hound dog, dude. Right out of the gate, bud. He's packing his new love's suitcase full of lingerie instead of dresses. Bro is horny.
Where's all my dresses?
They're in there.
I saw a lot of lingerie. I didn't see dresses.
Did you unzip it?
No, I didn't do that.
See? All your stuff.
Oh, okay. I think that will fit.
Yeah, baby, that should fit. This is
Of course, by looking at it, you can't tell, you know. Gotta try it on.
Like, you love this.
That'll be really pretty.
It's gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, that'll fit.
She needed that stuff, you know, dresses, not lingerie, for the red carpet events she's gonna be attending, because she's so famous now. She's such a famous icon of pop culture after murdering her mom, who tortured her for an entire life. This is only episode 1, by the way, and we are already getting an incredibly intimate look into Ryan and Gypsy's relationship. Very odd. To be clear, though, they're not trying to hide any of this. These people are extremely upfront. They have nothing to hide. They just say shit how it is. It is the most just reality television show relationship. It's almost fake how upfront these people are with stuff.
Hair is so long.
Get to like stare at you now, like really get to stare at you.
The reason that Gypsy Rose Instagram blew up so quickly in the first place was from a very specific post where she was calling out people for hating on her new husband, Ryan. Essentially, the post reads like, blah, 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 blah. Ryan and I are happy, and I don't care what you think. Also, Ryan has a gigantic penis, and I love it. Then Ryan would respond in the comments and absolutely mog on the haters like an alpha male Chad, saying that he never cared about what people said about them, and then said, now come get it, baby. He let out a big BBC Nature lion roar to his mate. Just or whatever, you know? This is where things take a turn. If you're a big fan of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, then I'm sure your heart split in half when you saw that she couldn't handle all the fame and she deleted most of her accounts. In spring of this year, just a couple months after her release, Gypsy deleted all of her social media accounts, losing her millions of followers. To the average person, that would be absolutely devastating. But to Gypsy, she couldn't handle the fame. She didn't like it. Of course, she just lived a completely different, strange life. She was tortured, and then she went to prison. And then she's extremely famous. That can't be good for you. That can't lead to a normal person, a normal, well-adjusted person who, who's gonna react to I mean, let's be real, guys. One of the last TikToks that Gypsy ever made explained the reasoning for deleting her accounts. Gypsy said that she is learning to take accountability and that she needs to take responsibility for her actions. She also said that she had to talk with her father about her newly acquired fame because she felt it was wrong. She had committed a crime, and a serious one at that, literally being an accompaniment to a murder of her mother, who tortured her, by the way, just an important note there. And she felt that it was being glamorized, which it absolutely was. There were a lot of people off the bat on the internet who were just like, yeah, kill that bitch. Yeah, Gypsy Rose, my new hero. I'm gonna kill my mom. It really seemed to boil down to Gypsy wanting to be famous for the person she was now rather than the person that she was then. There is also another reason she deleted her accounts, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Thankfully, after a while, her accounts were brought back, though some have not reached the same level of fame as they once had. With this new chapter of Gypsy's life, she wants to move on from her past, as she stated, so we take a look at her Linktree to see what she promotes or wants people to see. Linktree. awesome, guys. Looking top to bottom, she is promoting a podcast that has gotten her into some trouble in the past. Then you see a promotion for her book talking about her past. Okay, below that is her YouTube channel, which recently has just been focusing on her pregnancy journey and her Amazon store where she gets commissions per sale. So she's doing the classic influencer grift, you know? The classic influencer grift. Yah yee, yah yee, yah yee. Then the last item is a link to another book about her past that she didn't exactly want to focus on. There's a lot of focusing on the past. I'm getting some mixed messages here, but it's totally fine. By the way, while all this is going on and time is going on, she's deleting her shit, whatever, she's still in Life After Lockup, that show. I assume she signed a contract for that, so she's, and that's about her future, which is awesome. So she's kind of like, you know, yeah, I don't know. A few contradictions though, let's be real. So Gypsy's got her fame, she's got her fortune. By the way, isn't Gypsy a slur? Why is she named a slur? Anyways, she had her fame, she had her fortune, I'm saying it. But that would all change very suddenly with some more Shakespearean drama that would happen not so behind the scenes. It would happen right in front of everyone again. Gypsy and Ryan were married in July of 2022. They met for the first time only in 2021. And they hosted a small ceremony while she was in prison, and he finally picked her up when she was officially released in December of 2023. And following the first episode of the Life After Lockup show, the show became more of a curse rather than a blessing, and caused the downfall of the greatest power couple the internet has ever seen. Most of the popular moments that people actually care about in this show are just drama moments between Ryan and Gypsy. If you look at the YouTube playlist of the show that Lifetime created for their YouTube channel, you will see, once again, Shakespearean levels of drama. As you move down the playlist, each title becomes more and more dramatic. You don't even have to watch the videos to show the crumbling relationship of Gypsy and Ryan. Holy f***. Gypsy Rose excludes Ryan on family trip. Gypsy Rose is not ready for pregnancy. Gypsy Rose breaks down over her ex-fiancé. Gypsy Rose reveals the hardships of fame. Gypsy Rose feels controlled by Ryan. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's first day of freedom. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is pregnant. She also looks like a different human in all these thumbnails, which is super weird to me. How do you look so different all the time? I feel like I've looked the exact same for 4 years. By episode 2 of the show, the episode right after the first episode, the tone of the series completely changes with the title Gypsy Rose Feels Controlled by Ryan. It's already negative. We're already negative, okay? By episode 4, Gypsy is crying over her ex-lover, Ken. That's right, Ken. With the comedy of Peter, the beauty of Lois, the intelligence of Stewie, the eloquence of Brian, and the charisma of Quagmire. Ken really won Gypsy's heart. Ken, by the way, told Gypsy's family members that he broke up with her because he believed it was the best thing for her.
If he loved you enough, he needed to let you go so you could find yourself. That's what he told me he did.
We also learned that Gypsy hoped Ken would come in and say he was ready for a relationship again, just completely undermining and rug-pulling Ryan with his big old peener. Gypsy literally just got out of prison, by the way. For context, after spending 7 years for being an accomplice into the murder of her mom, who tortured her for her entire life. This is crazy. This is f***ing insane. I can't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth are true. She got out of prison, married Ryan, and then we learn that Ryan is a placeholder for Ken, who has an even bigger dong. If you look at the comments, a lot of people feeling bad for Ryan. They're like, maybe this Gypsy person is not that good of a person. Maybe we shouldn't be idolizing this person so much. This is weirdly deceitful and strange, and this is like a, you know, it's some white trash shit. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Is that offensive? I'm white, so I can say whatever the f*** I want about white people, right? White people be like. A lot of people feeling bad for Ryan, though, and saying that the stepmother should have just minded her business. This is the beginning of the end, but massive red flag. This is episode 2. In episode 5, we have Gypsy saying she's not ready to have kids with Ryan.
Wrong timing. It's just not gonna work out for us. And also, it wouldn't be fair to the child either.
Despite knowing that he wants to have a family.
So I know that Ryan, part of him, is probably gonna be like, you know, that was a missed opportunity. What happens if you weren't pregnant? You know, so there's that part of me that knows that he wants a child. But I had to do this for us, and in the long term, you know, it's what's best for us right now, so.
Totally fair, people have their preferences, etc. But this is one of the reasons why Gypsy will be hated later on after episode 5, because there's a lot of people who just hate her now. It's kind of crazy, the turn. Last time I checked into this, she was loved and pretty much lauded wherever she went. And now it's like, you see something and it's just people being like, what a piece of shit. So, I don't know. I'm assuming her stating she doesn't want to have a family with Ryan. She got cold feet with Ryan, probably because she's still massively in love with Ken. I feel like a f***ing idiot even saying any of these words out loud, to be real with you. So yeah, I guess go to sour.gg and buy some candy. I can feel less like an idiot and more like a shill. I'd rather feel like a shill than an idiot. We make a new flavor of candy every single week, literally a new flavor that has never existed before, or a combination of flavors you're familiar with. 3 Central Standard Time every Friday, sour.gg. It's legit. It's a real candy company. We make it. We don't just buy strips and then put our name on it and pretend like it's something different. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, people starting to catch on though about with Gypsy Rose, etc. So, pretty cool. In episode 6, Gypsy purposely excludes Ryan from a family vacation.
Either my dad or Christy's gonna come pick me up.
Yeah, the trip I'm not invited to. Yeah, the trip that I got told no.
On one hand, it seems pretty innocent and honest. You're allowed to exclude anyone from your life if you want. Gypsy just wants to spend some time one-on-one with her family because it's the first time in her life she's ever been able to do it without being tortured by her mother.
You remember how we had went to cut off and saw everybody, the family and all that?
Yeah, they didn't like me? Okay, perfect.
They like you. I'm not saying that. It was just to have some daddy-daughter time. It's like now that we have the opportunity to have some just us time, it's gonna be the first time in my entire life that I've ever been just with my dad.
But on the other hand, it does feel like she really just doesn't like Ryan and probably they should just break up immediately, as soon as possible, so. There's another helicopter in the same spot. Why? What's over there? Episode 7 is the peak of the Ryan saga as it ends with their marriage completely ending, which is awesome.
Are you happy?
Yes. I don't know why you think I'm not. And all of a sudden now you're not.
Gypsy said that she is not willing to work on the marriage anymore and followed that up by saying she thinks she'd be happier somewhere else. So, you know, that was quick. That was a quick one, to be honest. Pretty quick one.
You know I love you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just think that I would be happier somewhere else.
It is so painfully obvious as well that she just wants to be with Ken. The signs are all there, and they are so blatant that Ryan tells her to go call Ken.
Well, don't call Ken. You're probably already talking to him anyway.
In fact, if you recall earlier, we talked about the socials being deleted. This whole ordeal played a large part in their deletion. This was like the inflection point for the I'm deleting my socials thing, you know? Over the course of one season over an insanely cringe Lifetime TV show about a woman who was tortured by her mom, who then was an accomplice to the murder of her mother, who spent 7 years in jail, prison, and got out on parole, we learn that this is not someone who really should be famous or a good, this is not really a good person, per se. You can both be a victim of something and also be a bad person. Old Gypsy seems to have been unable to rose above her sort of past, even though that's what she wanted. She was loved by fans massively. She had so many opportunities to make a solid career, but having a live TV show airing out her weird, just petty ass, strange family drama. I mean, everybody, even Ryan is passive aggressive as all these people, it just sucks, dude. It's like a TLC show. It really is. It's like it's a camera on like a little animal tank. Like, we're watching them, and they don't even know we're watching them. I do have to feel bad for Ryan, though. I don't think anybody deserves what he had to go through with this. I mean, that being said, if anybody had to go through anything rough, it was Gypsy. So she can lash out a little bit. Let's be real. She's still got some good karma after all this. Seemed like Ryan was all in, though. It seemed like he was maybe all in for the fame, potentially. I don't really know. He just wanted a place to put that old big wiener, I guess. He wanted to make it work, and Gypsy really wanted to talk to Ken again, which is super strange. The guy with all the sauces and dressings. So Gypsy then officially moves on to Ken, someone she knew before Ryan. Ken, by the way, the sense of humor of Peter, the body of Lois, not really. She knew Ken before she knew Ryan and was a pen pal with him in prison. They had a bit of a relationship behind bars. Ken would eventually leave her for another woman, and Ryan would swoop in to pick up the pieces. It's kind of funny, honestly, if you look back on an older interview, she talks about how Ken likes blondes.
For years, I went through like a huge self-doubt tunnel. Like, I know that he is interested in blondes. I'm not blonde, I'm a brunette. So now her hair is blonde. People a little bit unhappy with this development started to spread some hate in regard to Gypsy Rose, calling her a bop. At this point, most of the comments on Gypsy Rose's social medias are just turned off, which is a big red flag. If you turn off your comments, it's probably because you're very insecure, you're hiding something, like Logan Paul, for example, or Gypsy Rose. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. The hate is really building up. Do I think it's deserved? Probably not, but people really have turned on her, it seems like, in the last year. She's only been out of prison for not even a full year, and she's already got her TikTok turned off. Hey, dude, shut the f*** up. People have been analyzing and critiquing Gypsy Rose, saying she's a manipulator, she gets whatever she wants, she sounds like a spoiled child.
Gypsy Rose supporters and the people watching Life After Lockup, watching this, has it finally opened your eyes that she is a scammer? She literally said in one of the episodes, I get what I want. I don't know, I don't pay for much. I have never paid for much my entire life. I normally, if I want something, I just get it. Oh my God, that sounds so bad. I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did, bitch. You meant it exactly as that. You got your teeth fixed, you got your nose fixed for free, you get everything you want for free. It is true, by the way, she does kind of get whatever she wants. She, you know, did have a tough life or whatever, and I think that probably in a way probably messes with your brain pretty efficiently. Instead of getting a television show, she should probably get extended therapy and extended just, you know, positive reinforcement from like a really logical perspective, not from a, you killed your mom, woo, or helped, you helped, you know, just mind rot, people being stupid perspective. Smash like. She does seem to get pretty much whatever she wants now, though, whether it's a boyfriend, fiance, fans. It holds up, dude. As soon as she announced her pregnancy, she created a baby registry of all the things she'd need, and it was bought out in 30 minutes. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that Gypsy Rose finally announced her pregnancy, which we all knew, or the fact that she uploaded her baby registry already asking for free handouts for her child. And like this person said, her registry was bought out in 30 minutes, and as soon as it got bought out, she went, edited it, and added more things to the registry.
I want to create a baby registry right now. I don't even have a baby. I'm not going to have a baby. I'm not pregnant, but I want free stuff. I just want stuff that I didn't buy that people just sent me. That's so wild. Presents? A lot of people also didn't like how quickly she had moved on from Ryan, someone who gave her a ton of support and might have been one of the reasons she had an early release. They were married while in prison. It seemed like he sort of took her in and tried to the best of his ability to take care of her. She'd rather just hook up with Ken, even though I do understand he's got the personality of Peter, the body of Lois, etc. Folks have been hating on Gypsy for quite a while, but the hate has truly ramped up after she left, you know, brother Ryan. Gypsy a bop. She should still be locked up. Nick only stabbed her mother 4 times. Gypsy did the rest. I feel like Gypsy's breath smells like garden center at Walmart. That's amazing. This hate has sort of leaked everywhere. Gypsy, even on her YouTube channel, is just talking about her pregnancy. She's just giving updates and just the experiences of being a new mom, and people are very unhappy, filling her comment section up with things like she's the last person who should have a baby. Anyone else completely disturbed by this woman having a baby? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Our justice system is messed up when you can conspire to have a person killed and you get out of jail. What about the torture? You know, the torture is pretty bad, to be honest. From what I'm gathering, it seems like people are just kind of hate watching because they're so tired of having her and probably other people on reality television shows' lives just shoved down their throat. People don't give a f***. People can barely afford their groceries, so I personally do not give a single f*** about Gypsy Rose. It's crazy that you guys are watching this video right now. I mean, I appreciate it. I really do, and I'm putting effort into it. It's like pretty good, pretty okay video. It's not good. It's pretty okay video. Yeah. Take a look in the mirror. Even recently with a news interview on Fox, people despise her. They brought her on to talk about her story and advertise her memoir. She's got a memoir.
Gypsy tells her story. She adds details that have never been heard before in her new memoir, My Time to Stand. And Gypsy joins us this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of comments were not happy that she was there, and especially mad at the Fox News team, saying things like, she's a murderer, she's not the victim. It's wild how much everything has changed. It just, first, when she first was released, okay, she's not a murderer. Well, she is definitely a murderer. Second-degree murderer, not a first-degree murderer. Accomplice to a first-degree murderer. But she had to endure so much trauma, etc., etc., etc. Bazinga, 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 whatever you want to say. People were kind of pro. They're like, yeah, f that bitch, that stupid bitch, she deserved to die. And now, it's a total 180. People despise Gypsy, it seems like. The internet has made a total 180. It's weird, dude. Comparing her to Charles Manson, which is really wild. I feel like that's not an accurate comparison at all. Especially this comment here. She manipulated a disabled man, it's all in all caps, by the way. She manipulated a disabled man to murder her mother. She's a con woman and a liar. Her mother was never diagnosed with MBP. She knew she could walk and knew her real age. She was in on the con when she was in her teens. This platforming of a murderer needs to stop. Which, that's an interesting conspiracy. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's any evidence of that, but people think she's a monster nowadays. With this big turn, everything she's ever said has been dissected now, looking for inconsistencies, and there's a long track record of deceitfulness and saying things contrary to what is the actual reality of the situation. One of them is her lying about her medication and use and abusing drugs, if that ever influenced some of her decisions.
I wasn't myself. I had been taking narcotics, such as Xanax and Vicodin. I was high.
Years ago, she stated that because of the drugs, it influenced her to want to murder her mom, but in the Fox interview, she states that that is not true.
Were you under the influence of the painkillers? Were you high? Did that influence what occurred that night?
You know, I was, during that week, abusing painkillers. However, that was not something that affected my mental state at that time.
So it's conflicting stories like that, and because she is now a celebrity, people are digging deep and trying to find every possible thing wrong with her. All in all, it's chalked up to this. People supported her at the beginning, and it seems like she was on the up after coming out of prison for taking part in the murder of her own mom after years of alleged torture, obviously. Then a show came out, she dropped her husband that helped her, moved on to her old boyfriend who had talked to her in prison. It's a big mess, and it is truly Shakespearean levels of drama. Everyone in the story, in my opinion, is awful. These people suck. These people all suck, and you should do whatever you possibly can to avoid thinking about them or seeing them ever again. After this video, of course. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, press the like button down below and go to the Gump Club to watch uncensored videos, versions of videos, and also get some cool shit with Sour Boys. Go to sour.gg to buy some candy made by me. I'm a YouTuber. I make candy. All right. I make candy. I've got the body of Peter Griffin, the personality of Lois, and whatever the f. Enjoy.